It was the most expensive fairy tale in retail history, told from runways under blinding spotlights, heard by millions. A tale of angels with wings, of unattainable beauty, of a key to desire packaged in pink stripes. Its author was marketing genius Leslie Wexner, and its price was $7 billion a year. But every fairy tale has a shadow. And while Wexner was building his public castle of lace and gloss, his most trusted financial advisor, Jeffrey Epstein, was building his empire in a world of private jets and closed-door clubs. Two worlds, two kinds of influence, one fateful connection. And when Epstein's shadow engulfed his patron, the Victoria's Secret fairy tale crumbled like a house of cards. This is the story of how one of the world's most influential retail empires went bankrupt, not from a lack of customers, but from a catastrophic failure of its own myth. This is not a story about lingerie going out of style. It is the autopsy of an idea, how a culture of exclusivity, a toxic corporate environment, and a founder's devastating association converged to kill a brand that once seemed invincible. The empire Leslie Wexner built was a masterpiece of control. In the 1990s and 2000s, Victoria's Secret didn't just sell, it dictated. The angel was not a model, she was an archetype, a globally recognized standard. The annual fashion show was a cultural tentpole, a spectacle of pure fantasy. Wexner's insight was brutal in its simplicity. He commodified a very specific male gaze and sold it back to women as aspiration. It was a closed loop, and he held all the keys. The financial architect of this kingdom for over 2 decades was Jeffrey Epstein. This was not a minor detail. Epstein managed Wexner's vast wealth, held power of attorney, and lived in a $77 million Manhattan townhouse transferred from Wexner. Theirs was a deep, documented financial symbiosis. One man curated a public fantasy of femininity. The other operated in the darkest corners of wealth and influence. For years, this partnership was their secret, but in the digital age, no secret is safe forever. While Wexner and his inner circle, led by the notorious chief marketer Ed Razek, were perfecting their exclusive fantasy, the world outside was changing. A new generation was rising, one that valued authenticity over airbrushing, diversity over homogeneity, and empowerment over objectification. The body positivity movement turned their perfect angel into a symbol of a problematic past. Victoria's Secret's leadership didn't adapt, they dug in. In a 2018 interview, Razek made the brand's position shockingly clear. They would not cast plus-size or transgender models in their show. He called it a threat to the fantasy. This was a historic miscalculation. It wasn't just a PR blunder. It was a public declaration that their fantasy was built on exclusion. Overnight, competitors like Aerie and Savage X Fenty were no longer just rivals. They were the moral alternative. Then, in 2019, the foundation cracked. The arrest of Jeffrey Epstein and the horrifying scale of his crimes exploded into public view. The media spotlight, relentless and unforgiving, immediately turned to his most powerful associate, Leslie Wexner. The headlines were inescapable: the Victoria's Secret founder and the pedophile. Wexner claimed he had been deceived, but the narrative was cemented. The brand's glossy image was now permanently stained by association. The fairy tale had a monster in its prologue. This external crisis acted as an X-ray, revealing the rotten structure within. A landmark 2020 investigation by the New York Times exposed a toxic corporate culture of misogyny, harassment, and bullying, orchestrated by Razek and other executives. Former models and employees described a climate of fear and disrespect. The angelic fantasy on the outside was powered by a hellish reality on the inside. The collapse was total and systemic. Consumer trust evaporated. The 2018 fashion show saw ratings plummet. Sales went into free fall. By 2020, the once dominant brand was closing hundreds of stores. The pandemic was merely the final blow to a patient already in critical condition. Wexner was forced out. The fashion show was canceled forever. The parent company, L Brands, bled billions in value before spinning off Victoria's Secret in a last-ditch effort to save itself. Victoria's Secret did not fail as a business. It failed as a story. The 3 pillars of its narrative crumbled simultaneously. Its cultural relevance, rejected by a new generation, its moral authority, shattered by the Epstein Association, and its internal integrity, exposed as toxic. In the modern era, a brand is judged not just by its products, but by its practices, its people, and the company its leaders keep. The final lesson is clear. You can sell a fantasy, but you cannot build a lasting empire on a lie. When the world decided to look behind the curtain, the most powerful angels in retail fell to earth, and they never got their wings back.